Hey there, Aquarius. Welcome to your reading for the week of May 20, or whatever it is. It's in the title. I forgot for some reason. May 26th. You have this dolphin spirit. It says, stop taking life so seriously and splash some joy in your everyday life. You have this exploration card. It says, right now you need to search and explore. It's okay to wander until you find your home. So definitely needing to be more playful. It's like you and Leo, your opposite sign. You know, you always get these cards of like playfulness or needing to kind of like enjoy life more, which is probably true. I think everybody is kind of taking things a little bit too seriously right now. So, like I said, enjoying yourself more might be a good idea. In your first row for your current general energies, you have the Eight of Wands, the Empress, and sure, we'll take all three, the King of Pentacles. You have the Eight of Wands and the Chariot, and this would represent kind of like wanting things to move faster. Those two cards together say that you are hoping for like more speed in your life. You're hoping that things get moving in a certain direction in your life as well. So I definitely get that feeling off of, especially those two cards. Everybody's had the Tower this week, so the Tower is coming up in the good stuff for you, which could be good. We'll talk about it when we get there. Everybody else has had it in regular positions. But there could be a global Tower moment this week, of course. But you have the Eight of Wands. The Eight of Wands is quick success or a quick conclusion. I feel like your focus is like going to be really important this week, which has probably come up for you before. I mean, even looking at your astrology, Aquarius, I think that, being focused, staying focused, all that's going to be very important for you. And, kind of keeping your eye on the prize. Maybe that's a better way to put it. And whatever that prize is for you. And with the Tower, it's showing up in the good stuff. So, this could be like a positive change that you're trying to create. The Tower and the good stuff is more like an awakening. It's more like having a light bulb moment on what you're supposed to do with your life, especially if you don't know. So a lot of you, this reading is kind of giving me those like awakening vibes, which again makes sense with Pluto and Aquarius because I definitely feel a lot of you could be kind of like stepping into your power because of it. You have the Empress. The Empress, of course, is total abundance, success, good things coming in for you. The Empress is ease as well. She is not struggling to grow this wheat in front of her. And so the Empress kind of represents focusing on the simple things that cause success in your life. So if you're working or, trying to build a business or trying to get a raise or promotion, the Empress wants us to focus on, it doesn't necessarily say the easy way, but just the simple way, the straightforward way of doing things. And the Empress sometimes I feel reminds us not to overcomplicate things or make things a bigger deal than they actually are. And you have that dolphin spirit that says stop taking life so seriously and splash some joy in your everyday life. So I feel that kind of being more playful with life and kind of practicing non-attachment from outcome, which has definitely come up for you before, Aquarius, is something that the Empress is either trying to teach you or trying to get you to do. I do feel pretty good about money because you have the Empress and then you have the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles, of course, is a card of wealth. He's, when he comes up in a reading, it could say that you are trying to create more financial security for yourself. And, he also does things very simply, by the way. He is a card of convention, and so he just does what works, right? He does what has always worked on whatever he is working on. Like if it doesn't matter if it's a business, a relationship, whatever. He just kind of sticks to the simple way of doing things, but he also sticks to what has always worked for him. And so obviously that would probably be pretty good for you with this King of Pentacles energy to just keep doing what works in life. I do feel a lot of you could kind of are improving your finances in some way. You have the Chariot, which would be a victory. 10 of Cups, like fortune after difficulty. So there could be just a general like financial improvement type energy coming up for you here. And of course, that would be a good thing. So let's see where this is going. With the Eight of Wands, you have the Nine of Cups. Yeah, it's like I said, you have your mind on something. Eight of Wands, you want something specific to go faster, is really what I was feeling on the Eight of Wands. The Eight of Wands was very non-specific in your reading. It's like usually when I get a card, like especially like the first card of reading is usually specific. I feel that it is like non-specific in your reading. You're all different. You all have different wishes and dreams and hopes and all that other stuff. So the Nine of Cups is like wish or wish fulfillment. The good news is, like I said, the Eight of Wands is a card of focus, and I said that focus would be important. So the Nine of Cups, we have to focus on exactly what we want to get it. The same thing is true for the Chariot as well. Like I said, he has to keep his eye on the prize, and I think I said that's what I said at the beginning of your reading. With the Empress, you have the Four of Cups. This is like the difference between like what you think you deserve and what you're getting, And so the Empress is, well, I mean, in some ways this is pretty good, Aquarius, because it's saying that you know that you deserve more out of life, but the Four of Cups is like disappointment with what you have been receiving. Now, there's kind of like a little bit of a solution here going in the middle. We have the Two of Swords, Five of Pentacles, and the Eight of Swords. So I feel that there's something that you're not looking at that could get you what you are wishing for. The Eight of Swords is coming up in the area, the good stuff. So it kind of tells us that you are going to find another way to do things. The Eight of Swords is self-imposed restriction, but Eight of Swords kind of has a simple solution. She just has to realize that there is more than one way to accomplish her goal. That's it. Her problem is that she's only seeing one way of doing things when there are many. And so if it's like you're here, like what you're getting is here, then I feel you need to look for other solutions. With the King of Pentacles, you have the Moon card. I get something about the past here as well. I'm not talking about a person, but I'm talking about like sometimes I think we say to ourselves in work, we say to ourselves, I did all this work and I didn't get the result that I deserve, right? And for some reason, that's like the story that's popping into my head with this Moon card is that you have put in work into work or into whatever you're trying to accomplish. But I feel like the results are mysterious. It's like sometimes you get a result and sometimes you don't get a result. And I kind of get that feeling off of this Moon energy. And I'm hoping, maybe we'll get more on that as we clarify this reading. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this card. It says, your surroundings will undergo a transition. Some of you could be moving, by the way. I mean, the Tower can just be a move. It's coming up in the good stuff. You have the Ten of Swords as well. Ten of Swords isn't necessarily a move, but it can say that something is dead, done, over with. So, if you're leaving an area, obviously it could be a move. You have this Black Cat. It says your luck will change soon. It looks like your luck will change for the better because you have the Chariot and the Two of Cups, which is great. Without skipping too far ahead, I feel like that Two of Cups is saying that your higher self is kind of guiding you towards more success, or your higher self is communicating with you in some way to get you to where you're going. And again, we'll talk about that in a second. You have the Chariot. I know what this is now, Aquarius. It's like there are things that you have to remove yourself from is what I'm getting from the Chariot. It's like, I think there are these like limiting situations. I've been saying this to you for like 3 weeks now. And this seems like something that maybe you have been dealing with for a while, but maybe recently you have come to the conclusion that something is just no longer serves you. He is setting himself apart. He is leaving that city behind to find his own city, to find somewhere where, he can be successful. That city has certain rules, regulations, everything. And maybe he doesn't want to follow those rules, or, maybe those rules don't really align with who he is. And so he has to go find his own place where he can follow kind of like his own rules. So some of you, it seems to me like, it's like, again, it's like I think you need to look at your results. Maybe that's what it is. It's like you're up here, but it's almost like maybe you're putting yourself in situations that are below the Empress, right? This could be like groups of people that you belong to. This could be friends that you spend time with. It could be bad habits. It could be anything. It's like I kind of get there might be several things that you have to cut out so that you can get into alignment with what you want. You have the Two of Swords. It's like you've been going back and forth on something, I feel here, Aquarius. I don't really feel much here, and sorry, I flipped this deck over, so let me fix it. But, I feel like you've been going back and forth on something, and really I think you want to be over here. This is my card of third place solutions. She's thinking the only solution in her life is this or that, but really she has this new place behind her. And so, I feel a lot of you, it's like you could be journeying into a new world, or you could be heading towards new worlds in your life. but there are still some like small attachments that are maybe preventing you from moving forward. I feel like you'll be very happy if you leave these things behind. I mean, we go to the Ten of Swords, but then we have the Ten of Cups right next to it. The Ten of Cups is ultimate happiness. The Ten of Cups is fortune after difficulty, good things happening after a difficult period of time. And, the other thing that I'm getting here, you have this Two of Cups. I think it would be very good for, and I say I think because this is not intuitive. This is just, I'm just putting together all the information from your past readings. But I just think that it would be very good for Aquarius to like look at the results of the people that you're dealing with. If they get good results, great, keep working with them. If they don't get good results, I feel that that is kind of like a clue for you. And this could be in any area of your life. We think of the Two of Cups as love, and it can definitely represent love coming in for you. The Two of Cups is a perfect match, usually someone who's different than your usual type. And we go through the Five of Pentacles to the Ten of Cups. The Five of Pentacles could just say that you're worried if you're attracting a person that it won't work, but clearly it will. But the Two of Cups is also you and your higher self. And, it's a card of communicating with your higher self. I feel like your higher self is trying to show you like what is confusing you with the Seven of Cups. Personally, I like the Seven of Cups. I don't really think it's a bad card, but sometimes I feel that it can be a card that is kind of creating a lack of clarity in our lives. And so I feel like the Two of Cups is saying like if a situation is confusing, then that is probably your answer, right? With the Chariot, you have the King of Swords, which could be you, Aquarius. Very good when you show up as yourself. This puts you in a position of power and strength. It really says that you are kind of the one that will be making decisions and choices this week. It's kind of like I get like this very much in your head energy in a good way. It's like sometimes we say I'm in my head and it's like a bad thing. I feel this is like a more of a focused, decisive action week for you, which is good. Definitely with that Seven of Cups and the Two of Swords and the Eight of Swords showing up here especially. So I feel pretty good about that. With the Two of Swords, you have the Three of Wands. Yeah, every single reading I do for you, Aquarius, it's like, what are you waiting for? The Three of Wands, excuse me, the Three of Wands is a card of expansion and growth. He needs to get on these boats and go on an adventure, but he sees those boats, but he's not like swimming out to those boats and going on the adventure. So there's clearly like a wish that you have, and I feel you need to move towards it. And this has been coming up for you for a while. With the Two of Cups, you have the Knight of Cups. Definitely could be a Knight in Shining Armor for those of you that want love. I'm not so sure. Like, yeah, there's love here. And I think love is always available to us. But I think your focus this week is decisive action. Like, if I were to boil this reading down to one thing, it would just be decisive action, right? So sure, yeah, there could be love. But I feel, for the most part, you are more focused on action taking. Next, in the area messages from your future self, you have the Starfish card. It says open to infinite possibilities. You have this Flamingo. It says embrace the in-between. We'll start there. The Starfish can move in many different directions. And, I think that's very important for you with the Eight of Swords and the Two of Swords. You need to realize that if something isn't working, that a little change can bring you in the right direction. The Flamingo, in this deck, and also this is the Colette Baron Reed Animal deck. I can never remember the name of the Wisdom of the Animal Oracle or whatever. But in the Wisdom of the Oracle, her other deck, the Flamingo, she has a flamingo on a card that also basically says embrace the in-between. So it's kind of like a purgatory energy. It says that you've been in this in-between space for a very long period of time. Your third card here is this Panther Spirit. It says reclaim your power, which I definitely feel is going to be important for you. I feel like you need to reclaim your power at this time. I feel like you need to kind of listen to your inner voice and listen to what your inner voice is telling you to do. And that's the feeling I get on the Panther Spirit, is that you need to kind of just take the actions that you think you should take. And, I think that if we are in an area of life where we question our decisions too much, eventually all we do is question our decisions, even though we do know what is right. And so I feel that this is saying that you have to build a little bit of confidence. I think you should start stacking those, I almost just said smacking those small wins, right? I think doing that will build a little bit of confidence for you. You have the Ten of Swords, Five of Pentacles, and the Seven of Cups. It's like if Aquarius could just, believe that they were 1,000 times more confident. Like if you could brainwash yourself into that, I think things would go really, really well for you. It's almost like I feel like I've said this to you before. It's almost like you could be playing in the big leagues, but you're playing t-ball, with like little kids, and that's kind of like the feeling I get. And I feel there are just like, this is not a criticism or anything, Aquarius. I think these are just like little, mental blocks, little hang-ups that maybe you have from the past. The Ten of Swords is being stabbed in the back, but the Ten of Swords can say there are little things that happened to you in the past, maybe from age 0 until now, and those little blockages need to be removed. Now, personally, I think the Ten of Swords really is a good card because he's making this symbol right here with his hand, and it represents a blessing. And so the Ten of Swords can kind of represent like a blessing in disguise or receiving a blessing. And so there could be some sort of blessing coming in for you, or you could be creating a blessing after a difficult period of time. You have the Five of Pentacles. Again, you have that Reclaim Your Power card. And the Five of Pentacles represents needing to focus on your strengths, not your weaknesses. So the whole point of the Five of Pentacles is that they are focusing on their weaknesses and not their strengths. So I feel for a lot of you that this is saying you could be calling attention to the wrong things, like the wrong reasons why you think you can't do something. But I think there are more reasons why you can. And like a little shift in your focus will probably make all the difference in the world, honestly, here, Aquarius. So I would work on that. Same thing with the Seven of Cups. Like, the Seven of Cups, there are good things and bad things in these cups. On a personal level, this could say that you are focusing on the good things and the bad things inside of you. But the whole point of the Five of Pentacles is that, like, sometimes there are just things that, I'm not saying that we can't learn or that we can't be good at something, but it's more that there are so many good things about you that just by focusing on those things, it would take care of the rest. And so I feel like this is saying you really need to double down on the good things about you, the traits, the positive habits, the good words that you have for yourself, the things that you like about yourself, and also the things that you think you're good at. And if you would just double down on those things, I think things would really improve with this Seven of Cups energy. With the Ten of Swords, you have the Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, it definitely could be a change in your fortunes. This is actually very good, Aquarius. This could say that there are improvements coming in for you after a difficult period of time. The Ten of Swords says something is dead, done, over with. And the Ten of Swords also says that, like once you leave something that isn't working, then things are going to turn around for you. I kind of get the feeling here, Aquarius, that with the Ten of Swords, like I feel like I said this to you before, recently, maybe over the past couple months, that like something is the final straw, for you. And, with the Ten of Cups here, like I'm wondering if you are seeing someone's true colors, or, it's like one of those things where I don't even think this is love. This could be in work or business. It's like maybe someone snubs you at work, or, someone says something behind your back at work and you overhear it or something. And I feel like that is like the moment where you say like, you know what? I'm out of here. And I feel that will change your fortunes. With the Five of Pentacles, you have the Lovers. Yes, if you want love, I feel like you need to... It's like you're focusing too much on why it wouldn't work. So some of you might have an admirer, or maybe you've been dating a person or something, and, the Lovers is love. I feel like that Five of Pentacles is just a little bit inside your head energy. It's like you're just being a little bit too much in your head with that Five of Pentacles, and you have the Ten of Cups. So... if this is love, it could go very well. With the Seven of Cups, you have the Ace of Swords. Ace of Swords is like a victory or big success coming in for you. It is also what I said at the beginning, going this way. The Eight of Wands, I said focus. The Ace of Swords is a laser-like focus. It is about being, kind of focusing in on one thing that you want to create. And if you do that, things will go very well. In the area of the good stuff, you have this celebration card and this take a risk card. Yeah, if you take a risk, you will be celebrating. You and Leo, your opposite sign. The two of you always get these risk cards because I think it is time for the two of you to take these risks. The reason I'm bringing up Leo is because if you have Leo in your chart, if you have any major planets or anything like that in Leo, I think this is like extra true for you. It's true for all of you, but it's going to be extra true for those of you that have Leo. And I think that if you do that, you will clearly have a celebration. I mean, we have the Ten of Cups, which they are celebrating. They are choosing to celebrate these 10 cups that exist above their heads. The Ten of Cups can also represent fortune after difficulty. And I definitely get that energy off of the Ten of Swords and the Wheel of Fortune. There could be some moments this week where you're feeling more fortunate, or maybe you're feeling like things are going more your favor. And I kind of feel like this is only the beginning for you here, Aquarius. I think as we move through the summer, things will really be improving, which is good, obviously. And, I feel this Ten of Cups could just be those improvements. You have the Eight of Swords. Eight of Swords is self-imposed restriction and holding yourself back. But coming up in the good stuff, again, this is going to be good. This would say that you are opening up to other solutions, especially in work and business. Again, I think that some of you are seeing yourself, like, I think you are seeing where you could play bigger, where you can do more and get more out of it. And so I definitely feel this is like work or business related. The funny thing that's popping into my head as well here, Aquarius, is like, I think that maybe you could be having some moments where it's like you have an idea and you think like, oh, that would be a good idea. And then someone else does it. It's almost like the universe is saying, yes, your ideas are good. Stop letting other people pick up on them and use them. And so you need to be first is kind of the feeling I get with the Eight of Swords. You do have the Tower here. Again, in the good stuff, this could represent avoiding a Tower moment. It could represent healing from a Tower moment. Could represent moving, so maybe some of you have moved. Really, I think that the Tower moment is kind of like a light bulb moment that could be coming in for you, where you get some, you have more inner guidance. With the King of Swords going this way, we go to the King of Swords down. This could be more decisive action. It could be more you being more clear on the actions that you need to take as well. With the Ten of Cups, you have the Page of Wands. Page of Wands is about being more playful, just like your first card says. Stop taking life so seriously and splash some joy in your everyday life. Page of Wands does not take things seriously. He is following his optimism and his enthusiasm. So he comes up with an idea for an adventure, and if he thinks it will be fun, and if he thinks he'll enjoy himself, then he goes on the adventure. He doesn't really overthink it. He doesn't attach too much to an outcome. He just decides to see how things will go. And I think that would be a good attitude for you here. With the Eight of Swords, you have the Nine of Wands. Nine of Wands can represent the Wounded Warrior, of course. Nine of Wands also says that you are not giving up, which is good. On the Eight of Swords, she is stuck and maybe ready to give up. So the Nine of Wands in the good stuff would say you are not giving up on something that has maybe kept you stuck for a while and you're finally having a breakthrough. Amazing card for you right now, Aquarius, because, for the next 20 years, Nine of Wands is my card of throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. And we have Pluto in Aquarius, which is all about experimentation. That's like part of it. So the more you can experiment with life, the better. With the Tower, you have the Two of Pentacles. Two of Pentacles, work hard, play hard, right? So, definitely needing to balance out work and play. That first card definitely says you need to have more fun in your life. So, I think it would be a great time for you to have more fun and to do things that you enjoy, plain and simple. You have this Barrel card that says you feel something is lacking in your life, perhaps love, money, or goals. Yes, I always like this card because it just says, you understand what hole you need to fill. That sounded wrong, but still, it's like you understand what is lacking, and that's what you could be working towards. With that Eight of Wands. The Eight of Wands could be your focus on something that you feel is lacking or something that you feel like you're missing out on. You have this June card, and then you have this Flute card. It says disappointment in a friend or a lover. Yeah, we're definitely in a time, like I feel this is true for everyone, that, we are kind of in a time where people are showing us their truth. We just had that full moon in Scorpio, right? That full moon in Scorpio is inner truth. And so a lot of people, not just love, not just friends, but people in general, really could be showing us their true colors. And, I kind of said that with that Ten of Swords and the Ten of Cups there, that, some of you, it's like the final straw. You could finally be seeing someone's truth. And yeah, like I don't even feel like this is a big deal. I feel like you're just saying to yourself, that's how life is. And I feel like you're like walking away from it. You have this Dark Man. It says dealings or relationships with a man with dark complexion or hair. You have this Love card. So if you want love, definitely could be a dark-haired person or darker person. It doesn't have to be a man. Again, I always say I'm reading for a million of you. Whatever you're interested in, definitely could be a darker person. You have this Lily. It says spiritual love. Yes, Two of Cups is a spiritual connection. So is the Lovers. The Lovers, that higher self angel is guiding two people together. The Two of Cups is you and your higher self, but it can be spiritual communication. So if you want love, definitely could be a solid connection. You have the scissors card. It says disappointment in some affair. Yes, whatever is disappointing you, I would almost like look at it and I would say, like, why did I stay in this situation for so long? Again, don't be too critical of yourself. Don't like beat yourself up over it. But there could be some reflections where you could really learn a lot by looking at something that's disappointing you and just realizing like how you kept yourself small, right? This reading says Aquarius needs to be big. That's what it's saying. So I like this for you, Aquarius. Very good. So thank you for being here and definitely enjoy your week.